In this segment, we're going to cover frequently asked questions, best practices, and tips. Let's start with how can I get technical help after hours or on weekends? And let me get us over to Samus. I'm on the landing page, and let's say that you want to see a video on how to do something or print a PDF that gives you some instructions. You could go to support and then go to the wiki to see videos. Most videos relevant to the training we're in today would be under Data Manager. There'll be a lot more there later. And if you see something you need, such as document repository, maybe you need to see a refresher on how to upload a document, you'd come here and just start the video.
In this section, we're going
So there'll be a lot of videos added again within this area library section Data Manager. If you need to see or you want to print a one-page tutorial on how to do something, you could come over here and then you would be able to open up a PDF and download instructions there. So there's quite a few options, either for videos or PDFs. Another thing would be simply to email us at samus@coj.net, and that would open a ticket in our system, and we would respond to it on the first business day. And one of those ways should get you some help as soon as possible over the weekend. Now then, from there, let's look at, can I share my Samus user credentials with a coworker? And the answer is no, that's strictly forbidden and would be a technical breach of contract. It's not authorized either by the City of Jacksonville's IT security protocol, which is applicable to this system as we are managing it through the city. It's also a violation of the agreement we have, and thus when you sign a contract, you are under that agreement as well with the Florida Alliance of Children's Councils and Trusts. One further agreement that it would be in violation of is webauthor.com. There are systems hosts. You really never would need to do that. It's very simple to request and receive authorized system credentials. It's not difficult, and we normally can grant system access within 24 hours or less. So please don't share your credentials. Remember, when you have a SAMUS account, you are responsible for protecting the confidential personal identifiable information of the children in your program. What if a participant attends a private school and does not have a DCPS student ID? So there's a procedure that you would follow. Number one, create a list of participants that you've confirmed do not have a DCPS ID. Include their name, date of birth, and a brief description of why they don't have one. Maybe they've always been homeschooled, whatever the case may be. You can do this in a Word document or an Excel file. And then once you have a list of names, maybe it's only one name, but still you'll want to put it in a document, and then you upload it to the program page document repository. Ensure you give it a descriptive name like participants would know SID or something like that. Once that document is completed and uploaded into SAMUS, email your contract manager. Let them know that you just put a document in the document repository. Tell them what the name of the file is and the date that you uploaded it. They're going to go in and review that document. By contract, you're required to get a valid student ID for every participant that you put in SAMUS. However, we do understand there are occasionally legitimate reasons why that's not possible. Again, if they're homeschooled and they've always been homeschooled. But if they're homeschooled or in a private school and at one point they did have a student ID because they went to kindergarten or first grade at DCPS schools, then you will need to get that information. You'll need to explain that to the contract manager and work that out with them. What do you do on the demographic page if they don't have a DCPS ID? It's an 8-digit number. It's required, and you would put in 4 nines followed by the last 4 of the social. If they don't have a social security number, they never gave you the last 4 of it, you could do 4 nines and their birthday, MMDD. In other words, if you have a student who was born on, let's say, July 4th, it would be 99990704. And I recommend that anytime you get into questions and you're unsure about student IDs, it's extremely important to get with either the SAMHSA Help Desk or your contract manager, and to always have a list of students that legitimately do not have a student ID. Are you required to close participant episodes after the school year ends? Yes, you must close all episodes at the end of the school year. Is there a fast way to do that? There is. There's a batch close process. We've got a video on how to do that. It's simple, and you can generally close any number of participants for one date at the end of the year, and it takes a minute or two to run this. Get with us if you don't know how to do that, and it's very simple to learn how. Here's a question. Sometimes people are confused. They want to ask about something. They're not certain if that's a question for the help desk or for the contract manager. So it really is a great question. And if you're some examples of something that would be for the help desk would be technical questions. I don't know where to click to make something happen in SAMHSA, or I can't get to a module. I know I need to, but I can't find it. Or you're getting an error message when you try to run a report or upload a document. Those would be technical questions. And some examples of questions for a contract manager might be, can I request a reimbursement for a field trip? Or does my contract allow me to attach a handwritten receipt to a reimbursement? Or maybe, can I enroll a participant who lives outside of Duval County? The SAMHSA Help Desk is not going to be authorized to speak to those types of questions. You would need to go to your contract manager for that type of thing. Let's talk about some data integrity tips quickly. Data integrity means ensuring the data recorded in SAMHSA is accurate. Some best practices to make certain that happens include, when possible, get the required DCPS student ID from a report card or other officially printed document from DCPS. You never want to record a student ID with an alpha character. You know how sometimes the kids will put an S in front of their student ID. That S invalidates the student ID. When we're running programmatic processes, that results in an error because the student ID at DCPS has no letters in it. It's just numeric characters. Also, if there is a leading zero, that's valid, and you need to put the leading zero in SAMHSA. If you only have a 7-digit student ID value, that's not a valid number. Something's missing, and it could be a leading zero. If you have any questions about the student IDs, you may come directly to the SAMHSA Help Desk to ask about those. Now, before creating a new participant record on a program page, always do a search to ensure that name does not already exist. If you do find the record, the name in SAMHSA in your program page, do not create another record. Instead, give the participant a new episode date for your program. And that's the way the system's designed. If you enroll a participant in your after-school program in the first grade, and they come back every year until they go to middle school. Each year, you're going to search for and find their record, open up a new episode date, and at the end of the year, close it, and then complete or do that cycle each year for every year. Record attendance daily. If you do that, you can use the pre-fill showing all participants present, and then you only need to quote-unquote touch the records of participants that are absent. This greatly speeds up recording attendance, and because you're recording it daily, it tends to be more reliable, and anytime a report is run, that data is accessible. Let's talk a little bit about attendance quality control. Ensure your sign-in sheets show all active participants. If a new student starts in the middle of the year, add that participant's record with a proper open episode date, and then rerun your sign-in sheets. Run the PUS PR2 report daily or weekly from the BI tool to ensure attendance was recorded as expected. Actually, I recommend running the report immediately after completing attendance. That'll help you with the unlikely event that you lost to internet access while you were doing attendance. If you do lose internet access while recording attendance, you won't necessarily know it because you're working off of a cached version of the UOS input module through your browser. And there's no click to save. It saves as you type. And therefore, it's going to appear as though you still have internet access. If you close SAMUS immediately after you've done attendance and you haven't run a report to confirm that attendance was updated in the server, then you wouldn't know, and it might not have gotten updated. That's very rare, but we see it maybe once every year or two. So keep that in mind. Now then, let's talk about getting paid. Reimbursements are processed FIFO, first in, first out, at KHA. That means basically your contract manager will review the reimbursements as they come into the queue. And if she's doing or he is doing 15 in the month, and yours is the 15th to come into the queue, then it's going to be the last one reviewed, and that could be a few days later. So always try to get that in as soon as possible. You do not need to wait to the end of the month or the first day of the next month. When you have completed attendance for the last service day of the month, it's valid to run your PUS PR2 report and then create that reimbursement, or your finance manager will be creating the reimbursement immediately after that attendance is done. And security tips. So don't share your SAMUS credentials. We've already discussed that a little. Don't share them with anyone for any reason. Doing so is a breach of contract, and it's an unacceptable risk to students' personal identifiable information. Now, any Excel files or PDFs that are downloaded from SAMUS or even screenshot images saved on your computer should be deleted, both from the hard drive and from the wastebasket. That media can be brought back from your hard disk, and so you need to be very conscious of that. And if you create an Excel or a PDF or a Word document with SAMUS data, or even data that is the same as what you would have in SAMUS, but maybe you didn't download it, but it's got the student ID number on it, give it a password. If you don't know how to put a password on an Excel or a PDF, we can help you with that. Do not email participants PII. That would be anything along with the DCPS student ID. And in some cases, in certain programs, even a student's name itself is considered confidential. For example, a special needs program. Ask the help desk or the contract manager if you're unsure. But I think a good rule of thumb is never email student information. A better solution is to upload documents that may contain student information into the SAMUS document repository, and then let someone in KHA know, hey, I just put a document over the document repository. Please look at that and help me with something. Remember, the KHA email is the same as the City of Jacksonville. It's government email, and it's subject to review by the public or the media. And that's another reason why you don't want to be discussing your kids' information in our emails. Replacing, retiring, or donating computers or devices that may have contained files which contain student information can be problematic. Those hard drives can always be taken out if you're going to donate a computer or if you're going to throw it away. You can take that hard drive out and you can degauss it, or you can destroy it. So that's something to keep in mind. If you intend to retire computers or devices that have been used for KHA-related data, get with a help desk, get with me, and we'll talk about a safe way to do that. Always log out of SAMUS and close your browser when you're done with your work. Not only will that protect the system and its data, but it ensures you have a refreshed version of SAMUS on your browser the next time you go into SAMUS. And then refer to your contract or ask your contract manager about records retention of your sign-in sheets and other related documents. How long should they be kept? And when they're no longer, it's no longer necessary to keep those documents, please shred them. They should be destroyed. So that covers all tips and FAQ for this video. If you have questions or concerns, always about security, always contact the help desk. Thank you.